Good evening, Chag Purim Sameach, Happy Purim, everyone. Welcome to our Purim celebration here at Congregation Am HaYam, and whether you are joining us via our live stream here in person, we're really glad for the collective energy tonight, and thank you. If you are on our live stream, you're welcome to use the chat, which is every Purim Sameach. Happy Purim, and to introduce yourselves to each other, let them know you're here. For services tonight, you will need, if you want the Hebrew, a Siddur, a weekday Siddur. We have the service transliterated with some extra readings, so you'll need a Ventura de Purim for this evening. If you are on live stream, you should have been able to access that as you got in. We also have another handout that I am going to explain. You know, as always, I do all the davening of the services to the original Shushan Purim Nusach that our ancestors sang. It may be surprising exactly how many of these Shushan traditional melodies actually sound like songs you've heard in the movies. That is just amazing to me how that happens sometimes. So I have prepared for your delight, hopefully, a list of all the songs that have been nominated for Academy Awards by Jewish songwriters. And you will see the year on the left-hand side and the name of the song and the film that they edited. And then on the right, the songwriters. Sometimes I give you their original name. Not always, but definitely if the last name was changed by them. In parentheses, I was asked about the numbers. That is their number of their nomination to that point of the year. So as you go, you can track how many nominations Irving Berlin or George Gershwin or somebody else had. You'll see them in the numbers, and if you forget to look and somewhere down the line you're looking and you see Sammy Khan with 20-something, you can go back and try to figure out where all of them are, but they'll all be in parentheses for you, so that there'll be little surprises. Hopefully this is a good walk down memory lane to have this, and you can take it home if you want. But we, I think, are, and we do sort of a name that tune style. So if you're on the YouTube, you're welcome to put into the chat what the song is, or who you know sang it, or what film it's from. That's actually a little tougher. In any event, don't hesitate to have fun this evening with that. And before we begin, though, as you might notice, I am very toned down from my usual Purim decor, and I notice that some of us are. But just to say that we're about to celebrate Purim on what is the 168th day since October 7th, which was Simchat Torah, the other most joyful holiday in the Jewish calendar. We still have people being held hostage in Gaza. We're fighting a war we didn't want to fight, and the battlefield has erupted beyond the borders of Gaza and northern Israel into violence against Jews globally, and a global discourse where anti-Semitism is actually celebrated. In addition, the images coming out of Gaza are heartbreaking and horrific to anyone whose heart is beating. So many of us may be struggling on how to find joy this Purim. It may feel a little tone deaf or incongruous. Perhaps there is a small solace in knowing that Jews have survived the kind of rampant anti-Semitism for millennia, as the Megillah shows us, that we have the strength of our ancestors within us, while Haman's clan has long since died out. So mixed feelings this year are definitely valid. Maybe Purim won't feel the same as last year's or next year's, but we must force ourselves into a modicum of joy. Our rituals tether us to these emotions so we won't lose our essence, our peoplehood, our spirituality, or our distinctiveness. Finally, the late Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks, unrelated to anyone else whose last name in the room may be Sacks, wrote about the difficulty of celebrating Purim in a post-Holocaust world, a message that resonates today. He tells us that Purim is about therapeutic joy and makes the case for humor as an act of defiance. Precisely because the threat was so serious, you refuse to be serious. And in that refusal, you are doing something very serious indeed. You are denying your enemies a victory. You are declaring that you will not be intimidated. You surround yourself with the single most effective antidote to fear, joy in life itself. As the three-sentence summary of Jewish history puts it, they tried to destroy us, we survived, let's eat. No, humor is the Jewish way of deflating and defeating hate. One of the enduring messages of Purim referenced in the Megillah is Vanafochu. Everything can flip around. And in the story, the impending tragedy is averted, the persecutor is brought to justice, and sadness becomes joy. This is the story of our persecution since the time of Persia. And at the same time, 168 days old. And now we are ready for Nafochu, to flip again, for the hostages to be returned home, for the persecutors to be defeated, and for our sadness to become joy. Please, God, soon. With that, let's be radical and be joyful. Let's go to our davening, and we are on page 137. If you're in the handout, we are on page 1. Please rise if you can for Vehu Rachum, which is just a short thing that precedes the Baruch Hu. Page 137 in the prayer book, page 1 of the handout. Vehu Rachum yechaper avon, velo yashchit vehir bala hashiv, apo velo ya'ir kol hamato, velo ya'ir kol hamato, Adonai Hoshia HaMelech, Ya'anenu ve'yom korenu, Baruchu et Adonai Hamvorach, Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Zippity-doo-dah, you may be seated. My, oh my, what a wonderful night. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach. Ma'avir Yom. Uma'avir Yom. Da 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 dum. Ba da 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 dum. Ya da da dum. Ya da 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 dum. Dun 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 dun. You can join me. Uma'avir Yom. Umevi la. Umavdil ben yom uvein la Adonai tzvaot shemo el chai v'kayam tamim yolim lo chaleinu le'olam va'ed Baruch ata Adonai hama'ariv ha'ra'avim. No, they can't take that away from me. Avat olam beit Yisrael amcha havta. Ki hem chayenu. Ki hem chayenu, v'orech yameinu, uvahem nege yomam, v'halayla v'yavadcha, al tasir mimenu li'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, all the way. We continue on page 138 with the Holy Shema to the traditional melody. Shema Yisrael Adonai Rabbeinu Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha. V'hayu hadvarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavcha hayom Levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtacha b'vetecha v'letecha v'derech ushach becha uvkumecha kshartam liot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha Uktav tamal mezuzot beitecha uvish arecha vayam shmot shmot. We continue the second paragraph to ourselves, sort of through the bottom of the page, through the top of the next page. Actually, who knows what I'm saying? Doesn't matter really. It's form. And we're concluding the Shema 139, 4 lines from the end of the top paragraph, third word in, Laman Tizkaru. And if you're on the in the handout, we're on page 2, sort of the middle of the page where it says conclusion of the Shema. Lema'an tizkaru va'asitem et kol mitzotai v'yitem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liyot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Oops Elohechem emet Oops Elohechem emet Oops Elohechem emet. We continue Michamocha, page 139, towards the bottom of the page, and it is on page 2 at the bottom of the handout if you're there. Michamocha ba'elim Adonai Mikamocha nedar ba'kodesh Nora tehilot osefel malchut charahu vanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam ze Elianu v'yamru Adonai yimloch li'olam va'ed v'ne'emar kifada Adonai Jacovu galo miyad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai ka'al Yisrael. Born free if you didn't catch it. Page 140, we continue Hashkivenu, and page 3 of the handout. Oh, I didn't introduce, I'll introduce people in a moment. Okay. And I am beginning in the 4th line with the 5th word, Vahaser. Vahaser satan milfanenu, ume'acharenu, uvitzel kinafecha, tasdirenu, ki el shomrenu, umatzilenu ata, ki el melech hanun v'rachum, ata ushmortzetenu, uvenu lechayim, uleshalom, fame, me'ata v'ad olam, Baruch atah Adonai, fame, shomer amo Yisrael, la'ad. Baruch Adonai Le'olam Amen v'Amen. Baruch Adonai Le'olam Amen. He got on Dorva Dornis apparel the hill, Techa Pech 141. That's sort of where I am. Who knows? Adonai Melech, Adonai Malach, Adonai Melech, Lilam Va'ed. Page 141. We're at the Ki HaMalchut Shel HaChi, where that box is. We're in the middle of page 3 on the handout. And what is that Shushan traditional melody that I always like for this? Ki HaMalchut Shel HaChi. Ul ol me'atim lo bechavod, ki ein lanu melech ela ata, Baruch ata, Adonai HaMelech b'kvodo, tamim yimloch aleinu, li'olam va'ed, v'al kol ma'asav, kesara sarah. This is the Hatzi Kaddish that'll lead into the Holy Amidah. Yit gadal, v'yit kadash me'rabah, b'alma divrach yerute, v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon, uv'yomechon, Uvchaye techol beit Yisrael, Bagala vizman kariv imru amen. Yehesh me rabba mivorach, li'alam olam me'al mahaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitale, v'yitalal, Shmeida Kudesh Barechu, La'ela min kol pirchatam, v'shiratam, tushbechatam, v'nechamata da'amiran, b'yalma v'yimeru. Amen, the way we were. Silent Amidah to the correct melody of your choice, pages 142 through 148. We add on Saturday night for the conclusion of Shabbat a paragraph on page 143 towards the top. And then we also add for Purim the Al Hanisim paragraph on page 146 at the bottom of the page. If you forget to do either or both those things, you can always ask forgiveness on Yom Kippur. Okay. You may please rise if you can do so comfortably for the Amidah. If you're still davening or engaged in meditation, you're welcome to continue be with your heart where it wants you to be. You can rejoin us when you're ready. We're going to be continuing, but I just wanted to point out before we do that, for those that used the handout, there was actually instead of a traditional Amidah, I had put in a sort of feminist poem about Esther for reflection. So if that's something you did not see but would like to, you're welcome to go there. And if not, we're going to all go to page 147 to the Al Hanisim prayer for Purim. And I thought we would sort of read together at the top of the page. So please join me. We thank you for the miraculous deliverance, for the heroism, and for the triumphs of our ancestors from ancient days until our time. In the days when your children were, where's the, 146 at the bottom, sorry. It's the same two lines, but for Purim, sorry, 146. In the days of Mordecai and Esther in Shushan, the capital of Purim, Persia, the wicked Haman, rose up against all Jews and plotted their destruction. In a single day, the 13th of Adar, the 12th month of the year, Haman planned to annihilate all Jews, young and old, and to permit the plunder of their property. You, in great mercy, thwarted their designs, frustrated Haman's plot, and visited upon him, thank you for that, the evil he planned to bring on others. Haman, together with his sons, were put to death on the gallows he had made for Mordecai. We're going to sing just the two lines, Al Hanisim, there, so please join me. Al Hanisim, V'al HaPurkan, V'al HaGvurot, V'al HaTshuot, V'al HaMilchamot, Sh'asita Lavoteinu, B'yamim HaHaim B'zman Hazeh. Al Hanisim, V'al HaPurkan, V'al HaGvurot, V'al HaTshuot, V'al HaMilchamot, Sh'asita Lavoteinu, B'yamim HaHaim B'zman Hazeh. That's a nice Israeli melody. Glad we're using it. You may be seated when you are ready. We're going to continue on page 149 with the Kaddish Shalem, page 149. Yet Gadal, V'yet Kadash, Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma Divara, Chirute, V'yamlich Malchute, B'chayechon Uvyomechon, Uvechayedecha Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala Vizman Kariv, V'imaru Amen, Yehi Shmei Rabbah, Mivarach Le'alam, Olameh, Almaya, Yet Barak V'yishtabach, V'yet Pa'ar V'yet Ramam V'yet Naseh V'yet Hadar V'yet Dala V'yet Halal Shemei Dekucha Berichu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shira Tushbechata V'nechamata Da'amiran Be'alma V'imaru Amen Titkabel Tzilot hon uvot hon Dechol Yisrael Kodam avuhon Divishmaya V'imeru Amen Yehi Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel V'imru Amen. Ose Shalom Bimramav Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel V'imru Amen. We made it to the Megillah reading. Yay! Okay, we are on page 5 of our handout, and you can follow. We'll be doing the Megillah reading from the handout. We do not have Hebrew copies of the Megillah. If you wish to follow in the Hebrew, you're welcome to pull out your phone. You davened the Amida, so you're good to go for putting phones on. Keep the sound down so it doesn't interrupt the flow of the reading. And before we begin the reading, so what am I reading from? Okay. We're going to be singing. I grew up in a Yiddish. My parents were both native Yiddish speakers. And I think they both spoke Yiddish until they went to public school, and then they learned English. I don't think they didn't really speak English in the home because they were immigrants. Okay. So we're going to sing a Purim song in Yiddish and in English, sort of. So page 5, if you'll join me there. Good Purim, 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 good Purim, good your. That's easy. Let's try it again. Good Purim, 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 good Purim, good your. One more time. A good your means to not only have a good Purim, but it should last, and we should have a good year. Good Purim, 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 good Purim, good your. Says doch ein der Yom Tov Purim, gragert jedin macharash, und soft zum Beisen hommen, mach von immer hommen tash. Good Purim, 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 good Purim, good your. Good Purim, 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 good Purim, good your. Today's the Purim celebration. What your groggers make a din. We are rid of wicked Haman. We've made a Haman tash of him. Good Purim, 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 good Purim, good your. Great. We're going to continue with the opening brachot, which can be found on page, I think, 194. And I'll read the first thing in the English, but then we're going to go to the number of verses in English. I mean, in Hebrew, then we'll go to the English after the brachot. So if you're joining me, you're welcome to join me. If you just want to listen, that's okay. Oh, actually, I'm supposed to show you that it's an actual Megillah. So in case you doubt it, this actually is a Megillah. Yes. Thank you, Josh. I could always count on you for a corny joke. So, and I appreciate them, actually. I mean that. I like corn. Okay. It's a vegetable. Okay. Let's go. Okay. You all saw it. Now we can do it. Baruch, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mikra Megillah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asa nisim la'avoteinu v'la'im ahotenu b'yamim hahem u'bazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shechianu v'kiyamanu, v'gianu lazman hazeh. Vayehi b'mei Achashverosh, hu Achashverosh, hamolech mehodu v'yad kush, sheva v'esrimu mea medina, bayamim ahem keshevet hamelech Achashverosh al kisei malchuto asher b'shushan bira bishnat shalosh lemalcho asa mishtel l'chol sarav avadav kel paras umadai hapartamim v'sarem dinod lefanav behar oto et osher kavod malchuto v'et yikar tiferet gedulato. Yamim rabim shmonim uma'at yom uvim lod hayamim ha'ela asa hamelech l'chol ha'amanim se'im b'shushan ha'bira l'migadov yad katan mishtel shivat yamim b'chatzar ki napitan ha'melech hor karpas u'techelet achuz b'chavlei vutz v'argaman al galilei chesef v'amudei sheish mitot zachav v'chesef. I'll read Safat Bahat Vashesh, V'dar V'socharet, והשקות בכלי זהב וכלים מכלים שונים ויין מלכות רב כי יד המלך והשטיח את דד אינו נס כי כן ייסד המלך על כל רב ביתו לעשות כרצון איש ואיש. Okay, we just are on chapter 1, and first paragraph is sort of what we just read in the Hebrew, introducing Achashverosh, someone who had a celebration for 180 days. Last I checked, 30 times 6, so 6-month-long drinking party. Feasts in the book of Esther are mishteh from shatah, so they're actually drinking feasts. In fact, I just read that the law of all laws about drinking were cut off so that everyone could have as much as they wanted to. And then he threw a 7-day party after that because 180 is clearly not enough for a drinking party. In any event, we're at the second paragraph, and we can go around, and anybody who would like to read is welcome to read. Bottom of page 5 in the palace. Jerry, would you like to read?
Yes.
Great.
Are we chapter 2?
We're in chapter 1, page 5, bottom paragraph, in the palace.
In the palace, Queen Vashti made a feast for the women. On the 7th day, the king, punch drunk with wine, commanded his 7 closest servants, the eunuchs of Haman, Zetka, Charbona, Bigta, Vodka, Zethar, and Carcass to bring Queen Vashti dressed in her royal gown so the people could admire her beauty. However, Queen Vashti refused to parade before the drunken male guests. The king was indignant at this refusal.
Thank you, Jerry, and your pronunciation of Persian names was so beautiful. I'm sure the Persian melodies I used must have moved you tremendously. Okay, we're going to continue on the top of page 6, and would you like to continue?
Yes.
No, your wife.
I like that. Top of page 6, you mean the angry king?
Yes.
I'm going to talk about the angry king.
Yes, please.
A meeting of his experts on Persian law. Karshena, Shetar, Anmata, Tarshish, Meres, Marsena, and Memuchan. Memuchan advised him to issue a royal order which can never be changed. I think a boo is in order.
Maybe 2.
Let Vashti never again appear before the king, and let the king choose a new queen to replace her, giving her estate to someone else. Where's the lawyer? The king's decision is publicized. Wives throughout the realm will honor their husbands more and treat them tenderly. Oy vey. The king and his advisors were pleased with Memuchan's suggestion, and the king acted accordingly, sending orders to every province, each in its own language, directing that husbands, oy vey. I don't think I can read that last phrase.
It was so picked for you.
Sorry, that's it.
Okay, well, thank you. I will say that both you and your husband speak a great Farsi. I can tell from the way you pronounce names, so you must be natives. I'm not sure. We're going to conclude that end of that chapter in the Hebrew. V'nishma pitgam hamelech asher yaseh b'chol malchuto ki rabahi v'chol anashim yitnu yakar levalehen lemi gadol v'yad katan Tav hadavar b'nei hamelech. Oh, vayitav hadavar b'nei hamelech v'asarim v'yas hamelech hidvar menuchan. Vayishlach svarim al kol bnot hamelech al mdina kichtava v'alam v'am kilshono liot kol ish sorer beveito umidaber kilshonamo. So, yes, it is possible, though, Arlene, that when he gives the order, let Vashti never appear before the king, he may be giving her her dearest wish to not see that pig again. So you never know, right? In any event, we are on chapter 2. And would you like to read?
Sure.
Yeah, we're on 2, 1 through 9.
Sometime later, King Ahasuerus calmed down. He now missed Queen Vashti and thought about her punishment in relation to what she actually did. To appease him, his questionable advisor suggested, let us search for the most beautiful young women in the realm, that the king's scouts bring pretty unmarried young women to the king's harem in Shushan. Haggai, the harem keeper, will beautify them and dress them in royal clothing. The one whom the king chooses will become queen in place of Vashti. The king assented and did accordingly.
It would have been nice had they actually asked any of the women if they wanted to come. Oh, well, women's voices, not heard then and not fully heard today. What can I tell you? You're welcome to continue.
Now, a Jew lived in Shushan named Mordecai.
Yay!
The son of Yair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjaminite. He was among those exiled by King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylonia and King Jeconiah of Judah. Mordecai raised his orphaned cousin Esther, or in Hebrew, Hadassah. In fact, he adopted the beautiful Esther as his own daughter. Now, Esther was among the many beautiful young girls brought to the king's harem in Shushan and placed in Haggai's care. She made an excellent impression upon Haggai. Thus, he rushed her beauty treatment and gave her 7 servants and the best quarters in the harem.
Thank you. Yasher Koach. And we are going to sing. We're at the bottom of page 6. I need a queen, a nice new queen to sit beside me. Oh, that's not the right melody. I need a queen, a nice new queen to sit beside me on the throne. And if she's very nice indeed, I'll give her half the things I own. I've looked at maids, so many maids with black or red or golden hair, but this one shouts and this one pouts, and so for none of these I care. Oh, you are nice, so very nice. Sweet Esther, will you be my bride? So here's the throne, and half I own, and 120 lands beside. What a nice little ditty. I do not know who coined that. We are going to read a little bit from chapter 2. In the Megillah, this is actually what Fran would read. So I'm sure I will not do as good a job as she, but I will try to channel that voice. Okay. And there's one verse that is about how Mordecai was was brought as part of the slaves to whatever, and that verse is done to the melody from the book of Lamentations, Echa. So you'll hear the difference when I get there. Achar hadvarim ha'ela kisho chamat hamelech Achashverosh zachar et Vashti v'yet asher asata v'yet asher nigzar aleha v'yamaru narei hamelech misharatav yevakshu lamelech narot betulot tovot mareh v'yafked hamelech pikidim v'chol meninot malchuto. Vayikbetsu and called Nara Betula Tovad Mare El Shushan Abira El Beit Hanashim El Yad Hege Sarisa Melech Shomer Nashim Vinaton Tamrukehen Vanara Shertita Bene Melech Timlo Tachat Vashti Vaita Vadavar Bene Melech Vyazkain Ish Yehudi Hay Yabishusha Hayabishushan Habira Ushmo Mordechai Ben Yair Ben Shimi Ben Kish Ish Yemini Asher Hagla Mirushalayim Im Hagola Asher Haglata Im Yechonia Melech Yehuda, Asher Hegla Nebuchadnezzar, Melech Bavel, Vahi Omedet Hadassah, He Esther Batodo, Kien La Avaim, Vana'ara Yefator, V'tovat Mareh, Uvamot Avia Ve'ima, Lekacha Mordechai Lo Levat. Okay, it's enough of chapter 2. We're going to do the end of chapter 2. We're on page 7. Okay, I could use some motor oil, but instead I'll use water. Okay. Do we have a reader for top of page 7? Alma, would you like to read? Top page 7. Esther followed Mordecai's.
Followed Mordecai's instructions and told no one she was Jewish. Mordecai walked by the women's house daily to see that Esther was okay. Women prepared the treatments of oil of myrrh and other ointments in 12 months.
Oh, that's some beauty treatment. 12 months. Wow. Yeah.
Then each evening, one maiden would go to the palace for an interview with the king for the position of queen. The next morning, the maiden would be remanded to the custody of God, the king's chamberlain, and supervise the concubine. The maiden could only see the king if he called her by name. When Esther, the daughter of Am HaYam, Mordecai's uncle, was summoned into the city, required nothing but what Haggai, that day, the 10th of the month of Tevet, the 7th year of King Ahasuerus' reign, Esther had her turn. Everyone thought she was stunning, connected with the love Esther. So the king set the purple crown upon her head and made her queen and said, the day of the celebration was called Esther's Feast. The king relaxed taxes and gave gifts of his new wife.
So perhaps the first holiday in the history of the world named for a woman, Esther's Feast. That's pretty cool. I also think it's very interesting that Mordecai's uncle was named Abigail. I just love that. They did not have such rules about gender and names and all that stuff in those days, but Abihail means Abigail. So Mordecai, that's Uncle Abigail. Isn't that terrific? I love that. Okay. And we are on the last paragraph. And Ruthie, you want to continue?
Esther continued to follow Mordecai's instructions, revealing nothing about her Jewish heritage. One day when Mordecai was sitting at the palace gate, Bigtan and Teresh, royal officers, were plotting to kill the king. Mordecai quickly told Esther, who immediately informed the king in Mordecai's name. The plotters were investigated and confessed and subsequently hanged. The details were recorded in the king's annals.
Thank you. Thank you. I didn't ask. I hope. Does anybody here have an Uncle Abigail? Okay. Just wanted to check that out.
What are their pronouns?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I do know, my friend Raphael, Oliver Shalom, told me he was going to teach my son Spanish because our son is from Guatemala. And so he thought he was coming in saying daddy, and what he called me was abuelita, which means old grandmother. So my son for quite a while called me abuelita, thinking he was saying dad in Spanish. Oh, well, we're going to sing Chag Purim. We're in the middle of page 7. Chag Purim, Chag Purim, Chag Gadol LaYehudim, Masechot, Rashanim, Zmirot Verikudim, Havana Risha, Rash, 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 Havana Risha, Havana Risha, Ra'ashanim. One more time. Chag Purim, Chag Purim, Chag Gadol LaYehudim, Masechot, Rashanim, Zmirot Verikudim. Hey, Havana Risha, Havana Risha, Havana Risha, Bara'ashanim. Chapter 3, we'll start in Hebrew. While I can still, yes, this is a Megillah. Okay, well, I can see. But that was very helpful, Josh. Thank you. That was a tova. You should be blessed, young man. Okay. Achar hadvarim ha'ela gidal hamelech hashveirosh et Haman. Ooh. That wasn't your stomach, was it? Okay. Ben Hamda Tahagagi Vainasehu Vayasam et Kiso Me'al Kol Asarim Asherito V'chol Avdei HaMelech Asher Bashar HaMelech Kor'im U'mishtachavim LeHaman Kichen Tzivalo HaMelech U'Mordechai lo yikra v'lo yishtachaveh vayomeru avdei hamelech asher b'shar hamelech leMordechai madua ata over eight mitzvat hamelech vayhi kalmram elav yom vayom v'lo shema alehem vayagidu lahaman lirot hayamdu divrei Mordechai ki gid lahem asher hu Yehudi vayar Haman. Ki ein Mordechai koreu mishtachavelo vayimalei Haman. Boo! Chema vayivez beinav lishloch yad b'Mordechai levado ki yigidu lo et Mordechai vayvakesh Haman. Lashmi de kol hayudim asher b'chol malchut Achashverosh Mordechai b'chodesh harishon chodesh Nisan. Bishnat Shnei Mitzrayim lemelech Achashverosh hipil pur hu hagora lifnei Haman. Whoa! Miyom liyom mechodesh l'chodesh Shnei Masar chodesh Adar. Great. We just read the first three, the bottom of page 7 in the handout, where Mordechai did not get promoted, and that the H person did. And so, see what I did there? Okay. And so Mordechai was jealous and would not bow down, even though that was the custom to show respect to a prime minister. And the other person found out that he was Jewish and decided that since one Jew didn't fall in line, they all have to go. And he played the lottery and picked a date. And now we're at the top of page 8. And Ruthie, do you want to continue? You had such a small part. Oh, yes, that person.
There's a group of people scattered throughout your realm whose customs are different from everyone else's, and who, thank you. There is a group of people scattered throughout your realm whose customs are different from everyone else's and who do not obey the king's laws. It doesn't make sense to tolerate their presence. Moreover, I will put 10,000 silver talents into the treasury if you issue a decree that they be destroyed. The king agreed and gave his signet ring to Haman, the Agagite, the son of Hamada, the enemy of the Jews, with which to seal the order.
You might as well finish it up.
On the 13th of the first month, scribes prepared the decree as ordered by Haman to destroy, to slay, and including women and children in one day, on the 13th day of the 12th month, Adar, and plunder their possessions. Runners carried the extermination decree to every province of the realm. Then the king and Haman sat down to drink while the people of Shushan were discombobulated.
Thank you. We're going to continue with the holy song, A Wicked, Wicked Man. Please join me. Oh, once there was a wicked, wicked man, and Haman was his name, sir. Destroy the Jews. That was his plan, though they were not to blame, sir. Oh, today will Mary, Mary be. Oh, today will Mary, Mary be. Oh, today will Mary be, and Nasham and Tashjan. Then Mordechai at the gate said, Esther, I must fetch her to save us all. She must be told and be a loyal royal kvetcher. Oh, today will Mary be. Oh, today will Mary be. Oh, today will Mary be, and Nasham and Tashjan. Thank you, Yasha Koach. And Brenda, would you like to continue? We're at chapter 4, page 8.
Now, when Mordecai knew all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put on sackcloth with ashes. All the Jews throughout the empire took Mordecai's lead and went into mourning, fasting, weeping, and some also wearing sackcloths with ashes.
Fashion statement.
Mordecai sat outside the palace gate, but in such garb he was not permitted to enter. Esther's maidens and chamberlains came and informed her. The queen sent raiments to clothe Mordecai, but he accepted it not. Then Esther called for Hatash, the king's chamberlain, whom he had appointed to attend to her. She charged Hatash to go to Mordecai to find out what happened. Mordecai informed Hatash about Haman's bribing the king in order to get a decree of extermination against the Jews promulgated. Mordecai gave Hatash a copy of the decree and asked him to show it to Esther. He told her to plead with the king to save her people. Esther sent Hatash back to Mordecai this message. Everyone knows that anyone who comes into the king's presence without invitation is put to death, unless the king holds out his golden scepter. And I have not seen the king in the last month.
This is my golden scepter. Okay. Okay, never mind. We are on page, thank you, page 9. And Evan, Bavakasha.
Then Mordecai relayed this message to Esther. Do you for 1 second believe that just because you are the queen that you will escape the extermination decree? If you do not intervene, I am positive that help for the Jews will come from somewhere else. But you and your father's line will perish. Who knows? Perhaps you were brought to this palace for this very emergency. Then Esther sent this message back to Mordecai. Gather together all the Jews in Shushan and fast for me. For 3 days and 3 nights, I and my servants will also fast. In 3 days I will go to the king unannounced, and if I perish, I perish. Mordecai went his way and did all that Esther had commanded him.
Thank you for that. If you noticed, Arlene, you'll like this one. Okay. All previous times, Esther was doing whatever Mordecai commanded, and now we have Mordecai doing all that Esther commanded, and that's when things start happening good for the Jews. So yeah, so just got to get a little women's energy in there. In any event, we're going to sing "You Can Change the World" from the late great Debbie Friedman. Page 9, please join me. In a place you may have heard about, in Shushan, as you know, an evil man named Haman said, the Jews have got to go. Now Esther was the Jewish queen, and she knew not where to turn. To Mordecai, her cousin said, there's something you must learn. Oh, Esther, you can change the world. You can make the world complete. So take the pride you feel inside and never accept defeat. There's an evil plot against us now, a list of cruel demands, and Esther, only you can help. Our fate is in your hands. She said, cousin, do you really think that a difference I can make? A Jewish girl before the king, it could be a big mistake. No, Esther, you can change the world. You can make the world complete. So take the pride you feel inside and never accept defeat. So Esther went before the king, and though she was afraid, she stood up proud and spoke out loud, and her people all were saved. So now we read the Megillah at Purim time each year and learn how God can give us strength to overcome our fear. Remember, you can change the world. You can make the world complete. So take the pride you feel inside and never accept defeat. Let's see if Esther does it this time around. I'm really unsure how the story ends, so I am in suspense. And would you like to read? I want to start back here. Okay. Phil, bavakasha, and we have a microphone for you
Thank you.
so people at home can hear.
3 days later, Esther entered the throne room dressed in her royal robes. When the king saw Esther, he held out his golden scepter and signaled for her to approach. Esther approached and touched the tip of his scepter. Then the king asked her, "Queen Esther, tell me what is bothering you. Even if you ask for half of the realm, it shall be yours." And Esther said, "Your Majesty, if the king agrees, let him and Haman
That was a premature.
come to a banquet which I have prepared." King Ahasuerus and Haman went to Esther's private banquet. When the king offered to grant Esther any wish, she coyly requested that the king and Haman come to a second private banquet the very next day. Haman was overjoyed until he ran into, you guessed it, Mordecai, who again didn't budge, let alone bow down before Haman.
Whoa!
This infuriated Haman. Haman, however, kept his composure, went home, and sent for his friends and his wife, Zeresh. Haman boasted to them about his riches, his many children, and the honors which the king had bestowed upon him, and how he was now second to the king. Haman boasted, "Queen Esther hosted the king and me at a private banquet, and tomorrow I will attend yet another private banquet with only her and the king. But these honors mean nothing to me when I see that Jew Mordecai sitting in the gate of the palace, king's palace, when his wife Zeresh and his friends responded, 'Build a gallows 70 feet high, and in the morning ask the king to permit you to hang Mordecai from it. Then you will truly enjoy your banquet.' And the king and queen, the advice made perfect sense to Haman, and he ordered the gallows erected.
Thank you. We're going to try to read that in the last part of that chapter, if I can find it quickly. That's not exactly clear. Oh, yes, here it is. And excuse me, I need to put on my reading glasses. Okay. Vayitapek Haman. Thank you. Vayavo el beito. Vayishlach. Vayaveiro havav. Zeresh ishto. Vaysaper lahem Haman. Kavodo shro l'ropanav. V8. Kol asher gidalo hamelech. V'yet asher nisa'o ala sarim v'avdei HaMelech Vayomer Haman Af lo heviya Esther HaMalka im HaMelech Elamishta asher asat ki imoti v'gam lemachar ani karula im HaMelech v'chol zeh eineno shoveh li b'chol eit asher ani ro'et Mordechai Yehudi Yoshev b'shar HaMelech v'tomer lo zereshish tov v'cholo avav yasu et gavo chamishim ama uvaboker emor lamelech vayitlu Mordechai alav uva im HaMelech elam ishteh sameach vayitav adavar lifnei Haman. Thank you. Vayas ha'etz. Great. We are now on chapter 6. Vayor. Okay. And who is our next reader? Bavakasha.
King Ahasuerus couldn't sleep. To relax, he ordered someone to come and read to him the royal annals. Thus he was reminded how Mordecai saved his life, but had not yet been rewarded. He was wondering about an appropriate reward when Haman entered. As Haman entered, the king asked him, "What shall I do for a man whom I wish to honor?" Haman thought, "I am the most important person in the realm. Of course, the king wants to honor me." So Haman replied, "For the man whom the king wishes to honor, bring a royal robe which the king has worn, and a horse which the king has ridden, and place a royal crown upon his head. And instruct one of your nobles to enrobe the person whom the king wishes to honor, and lead him on your horse through Shushan, proclaiming, 'This is the way the king honors those who serve him well.'" The king responded to Haman, "Hurry, take my royal robes and my horse, and do exactly as you have suggested to Mordecai the Jew, who now sits in the palace gate." So Haman took the apparel and the horse, and arrayed Mordecai, and led him through the street of the city, proclaiming, "Thus shall be done to the man whom the king delights to honor." Afterward, Mordecai returned to the king's gate, while Haman hurried home in mourning with his head covered. Haman recounted to his wife Zeresh and all his friends all that had befallen him. They responded, "If Mordecai is of Jewish seed, you shall not prevail against him. Indeed, it is you who will fall before him." And as they were talking, the king's chamberlains came to escort Haman to the banquet that Esther had prepared. Haman.
Thank you, Mr.
Haman.
Morris.
Haman.
Okay.
Haman. 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 Haman.
Well, we're singing. We're in the middle of page 11. Mordecai's procession. Something's coming down the street. Come out, let's see. The trumpets call, the drummers beat. Come out and see. Thus shall be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor. Who's that riding mounted high? Hurry out, let's see. Haman's leading Mordecai. Come out and see. Thus shall be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor. Haman, Haman, sing it loud. We'll sing with you. He's the man of whom we're proud. Come on and sing. Thus shall be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor. Mordecai is the man whom the king delighteth to honor. Chapter 7. And Josh, will you continue for us? We're at the bottom of page 11.
The king and Haman arrived at Queen Esther's banquet. Once again, the king asked Esther, "What is your wish, Queen Esther? Even if you ask for one half of my realm, it shall be yours." Then Queen Esther answered, "Do the dishes. If I have ever found favor in the king's eyes, and if it pleases the king, save my life and the lives of my people. For I and my people have been sold to those who wish to exterminate us. If we had been sold as slaves, I would have remained silent, but this decree will create many problems for the king." Then King Ahasuerus responded to Queen Esther, "Who is this evil schemer and where is he?" Queen Esther replied, "There sits our enemy, wicked Haman." Haman trembled in terror before the king and the queen. The king angrily arose and went into the palace garden. Haman remained to plead for his life to Queen Esther, for he sensed that the king now turned against him. Thus, when the king returned to the banquet, he saw Haman fallen upon the couch where Esther was. The king raged. "Will he even try to bed the queen in my own house?" These words viscerally deflated Haman. Then Harvana, one of the eunuchs, exclaimed, "Sire, Haman has constructed in his courtyard a gallows for Mordecai, who saved the king's life." The king ordered, "Hang him on his own gallows." So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then the king's wrath was assuaged.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to read that last two couple of lines because it's so significant. It's nice that that Harvona seems to be non-binary in this story is the hero of the whole story, which is really cool. We love that. And so we are going to read about him now in the Hebrew. Okay, that's assuming that I find it tonight. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay, I'm close. Okay, yes. Oh, Vayomer Havona, Echad Minas Harisim, Lifnei HaMelech, Gam Hinei Ha'itz, Asher Hasa, Haman, LaMordechai, Asher Diber Tov Al HaMelech, Omed Beveit Haman, Gavoha Chamishim Amah, Vayomer HaMelech Talu Alav, Vayidlu et Haman. Al ha'etz asher ichin leMordechai, v'chamat hamelech shachacha. Okay, we're up to page 12. We're singing Shushu Shushan. So please join me. Oh, Haman was a high and mighty bluff in Shushu Shushan long ago. He ordered Mordecai to take his derby off in Shushu Shushan long ago. So we sing, so we sing, so we sing and raise a robe. For Haman he was swinging while Mordecai was singing in Shushu Shushan long ago. Queen Esther took control of the whole scene in Shushu Shushan long ago. Bravely risking her life, she went in to see the king in Shushu Shushan long ago. So we sing, so we sing, so we sing and raise a robe. For was swinging while Mordecai was singing in Shushu Shushan long ago. Oh, okay, we're at chapter 8, Kenahora, and Esther.
Yes, can you hear me? Okay.
You can sing about your namesake.
King Ahasuerus gave Haman's
Boo!
estate to Esther and his signet ring to Mordecai. Esther came before the king once again and tearfully begged the king to reverse the decree to exterminate the Jewish people. The king, however, couldn't legally undo the law. However, he issued a new law allowing the Jews to defend themselves and to destroy any who would, in light of events, attempt to attack and rob the Jews. The king's scribes were called on the 23rd day of Sivan, the third month, and wrote all that Mordecai commanded them in the name of the king Ahasuerus. With the royal seal on it, the new decree was dispatched by horse to every province of the realm, each in its own language, and the decree was posted throughout Shushan, the capital. Mordecai left the king in royal apparel, and as he walked, the city of Shushan shouted and was glad. Suddenly there was light and joy, gladness and honor for the Jews of the Persian Empire. Moreover, in every province and in every city, the Jews had gladness and joy, feasting and celebration.
Fantastic. Thank you, Yasher Koach. And we are, I don't know, what is this business that laws can't ever be changed? Doesn't that sound like a silly leader thing, men leader thing?
In the context of the story, it explains why he wasn't just like, okay, I'm ready to see Vashti again. I cooled down. He made a law, he couldn't change it.
Well, that's true. Very good point. Just seems like silly to say laws can never, ever be changed for any reason, even if a whole people is going to be killed. It doesn't make sense. Okay, to me. Oh, but
And he made the law.
Yeah.
Can't change it apparently.
He doesn't want to contradict himself.
Yeah, it would be on TikTok pretty quickly. Yeah, good point. Good point. Okay, we are at the top of page 13. Please join me. Utsu etzavid too far. Dabru davar velo yakum. Utsu etzavid too far. Dabru davar velo yakum ki Immanuel. Utsu etzavid too far. Dabru davar velo yakum ki Immanuel. And we are at chapter 9. And Austin Powers is going to be reading for us. Thank you, Austin.
The date of the king's decree arrived. On the 13th of Adar, the 12th month, the king's decree, the Jews braced themselves, and the entire Persian leadership assisted the Jews. And Mordecai's star continued to rise. The Jews defeated their foes. Everywhere the Jews were victorious, but they refused to take any spoils. In Shushan, they killed 500 enemies, and also Pashadala, Daphan, Apasta, Parada, Adaya, Aridata, Parbishta, Arisai, Aridai, and Bizata, Haman's 10 sons. They were hanged the next day, the 14th of Adar, and on the 15th they rested.
Excellent Farsi. You must have been from the same village as Jerry and Arlene. Okay. By the way, you might as well continue and finish up for us.
Mordecai recorded all these events and sent letters to all the Jews, near and far, to all the provinces of the king, urging them to celebrate the 14th and 15th days of the month of Adar every year as a holiday. And it was on those historic days that Jews were saved from destruction. It was that month when their sorrow changed from joy and their mourning into happiness, making them days of feasting and joy and exchanging gifts of food, mishloach manot, and giving tzedakah to the poor. The Jews adopted Mordecai's suggestion. These days are called Purim, and after the name of the Purim, the lots that had been cast by Haman for the ill, but turned into good. Thus the Jews ordained that in each generation they would remember to keep the days of Purim and keep alive the memory of these events, as Queen Esther and Mordecai enjoined upon them. And Esther's commandment confirmed these matters of Purim, and it was written in the royal records.
You know, he's been dead for a while, and the narrator still found a way to put him into the last the paragraph. Okay, we're going to read the last few verses in Hebrew to finish that up before we continue. Oh, wait, nope, we're not at chapter 10. Ani Purim, bottom page 13. Please join me. Ani Purim, Sameach Vadeach. Halo rak pa'am bashana avo lehitareach. Yai dai da da da, yai dai dai da da da, yai dai dai da da da, yai dai dai dai. Rabbi Purim, mornali madua, lo yachul Purim pamayim pashavua. Yai dai da da da, yai dai dai da da da, yai dai da da da, yai dai dai dai. Last chapter we'll do in Hebrew. I should be able to find that one. Okay. Vayasem hamelech Achashverosh ma'as al haaretz v'yeyam v'chol ma'asei tokpo ugvurato farashat gedulat Mordechai asher gidlo hamelech halo hein ketuvim al sefer divrei yamim lemalchei madai ufaras ki Mordechai hayehudi mishna lemelech Achashverosh V'gadol hayodim v'ratzui larov echav doresh tov lamo v'dover shalom lechol zaro. Page 14, we're going to continue with Shoshanat Yaakov, and then we'll do the final bracha. Shoshanat Yaakov, tzala v'samecha, Otam Yachad, Techeled Mordechai, Shoshanat Yaakov, Tzala v'samecha, Otam Yachad, Techeled Mordechai. Shuatam hayita lanetzach v'tikvatam bechol dor vador. Lahodi asher kol kovecha lo yevo shuva lo yikalmu. Shoshanat Yaakov tzalav v'samecha bir otam yachad techeled Mordechai. Shoshanat Yaakov tzalav v'samecha bir otam yachad techeled Mordechai. Let's go to the final bracha. Okay, if you want to follow along, it's on page 195, but otherwise you can just listen to it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, haraved rivenu, hadanat dinenu, hanokim et nikmatenu, hamshalem gemul l'chol avei nafshenu, v'nifra lanu mitzarenu. Baruch atah Adonai, hanifra le'amo Yisrael mikol tzareihem, ha'el haMoshiach. Amen. And now we are going to go to page 162 in our book. It is Saturday night. So before we do Havdalah, we're just going to do quickly, we're going to look at Psalm 128, which is traditionally recited on Saturday nights. We're not doing any of the pages before. We're just going to look at this quickly. Because we all need blessing and Israel needs a little bit of a blessing. So please join me. Blessed are all who revere Adonai, who follow in God's ways. You shall enjoy the fruit of your labors. You shall be happy and prosper. Your spouse shall be like a fruitful vine within your house, your children like olive shoots around about your table. This is the blessing of one who reveres Adonai. May Adonai bless you from Zion. May you see Jerusalem prosper all the days of your life. May you live to see your children's children. May there be peace for the people Israel, for the whole Middle East, and the whole world. Amen. And we're going to sing the last sentence, Yevarechecha. Please join me. Yevarechecha Adonai mitzion, Orei betuv Yerushalayim. Yadadadadada Yevarechecha Adonai mitzion. Kol yamei yamechayecha, or evanim levanecha, shalom al Yisrael, or evanim levanecha, shalom al Yisrael, or evanim levanecha, shalom al Yisrael, or evanim levanecha, Shalom al Yisrael. So we pray for shalom for Israel, her neighbors, for peace between the Palestinians and the Israelis, a real peace, a lasting peace, and one that radiates for the whole world. We're going to continue at this time. Where are we continuing? We are going to be with Havdalah. So Havdalah, page 165. Please rise if you can do so comfortably. And is there someone who would like to hold the candle? Okay, no one wants to hold a candle.
But nobody could hold a candle to you, Rabbi.
Well, you could. I'm right here. Oops, these matches are not working well. I'm going to let you do because there's one left. Is there someone who would like to hold the spices? No, we'll pass it around. Okay.
You can make the line.
I don't mind doing that. Okay, we are page 165. We do not do the Hinei El Yeshuati when you're in a synagogue. Oh, say, can I see? Okay, this is best. Okay, thank you. Yada-da-da-da-da-da. 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 The words are easy. join me, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Borei pri hagafen yada da 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 whoa yada da 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 whoa yada da 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 yada da da da. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Borei mine b'samim yada da da yada da da yada da yada da 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 da. Someone come get this spice box. Yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da da yada da 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 yada da da da. We'll continue as it's being passed around. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Borei meorei haish yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da 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 da. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol beno lechoshech ben Yisrael ha'amim ben yom hashib l'sheshit yemei hamaseh Baruch atah Adonai Hamavdil ben kodesh lechol yada da 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 yada da da yada da 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 yada da 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 da. Shkoach. And we can put the lights on. And we're going to continue with our tefillot. That's pretty cool. We are on page 150. Page 150, I believe. Yes, for the page 150. Please rise or keep standing if you can do so comfortably. Ayya ba 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 bye bye bye. Ayya ba 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 bye bye bye. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol latet gedula leyotzer bereshit shelo asanu kegoye haratzot velo samanu k'mishpachot adama shelo samham chelkeinu kahem. Ya ba 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 bye bye bye. Ya ba 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 bye 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 v'gora leinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu kor'imu mishpachamimu modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim ha'akadosh baruch hu and blow him a kiss. Shemaim Yosef I read. I came to. V'kabu chulam et ol malchutecha v'timloch alehem mehira le'olam va'ed ki hamalchut shelcha hi ula'ol me'ad timlo bechavod kakahatu b'torah techa Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai L'melech kol haaretz B'yam hahu yiyeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad Lullaby Broadway. Okay, never mind. We have Kaddish, page 151. Those in mourning, those observing a yahrzeit, please join me. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah. Be'alma divarach hirute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agalau v'zaman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehe shmei rabbah mevorach li'olam alalamei alamaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitmormam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal. Shemei dekucha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the ultimate source of peace and comfort grant peace to those who mourn and comfort all the bereaved among us. Let us all say amen. You may be seated. Thank you all for being here. Great to be together. We need a little Purim right this very minute. Okay, sorry. Show tunes. That's my jeans. Okay, we are announcements. Chag Purim Sameach. We do not have services this coming weekend, but we do have events this week. My class on Jewish life and experience through music, and we're in our unit on social justice. And just 2 words. The figure that one of the figures we'll be learning from this coming Monday night, Lena Horne. Just saying. Okay. Wednesday we have our Ometz Lev, our gathering to sort of commiserate and think about and talk and discuss Israel. So we hope that you'll, if you're able to, you'll be joining us then. And Thursday night, Fran's Midot class on trying to maximize our potential and live our best self. And with that, we're going to sing on page 15, if you need it. It's 3 words, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai, Chai. Am Yisrael Chai, Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai, Chai. Am Yisrael Chai, Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael 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 Chai. We have, for those of you that are in the sanctuary, we have some refreshments for you. Happy Purim to all of you at home and here, and hope to see you soon. Take care. Chag Sameach.